Welcome back to another week of Coffee with Laura. I am Laura. And for those who are new to Coffee with Laura, I work as a personal trainer, a health and life coach, and my whole mission is to help people build a bridge between where they are now and where they want to be, specifically with their health, but I also work with life. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that works for both health and life, and I'm going to be completely me. I like to call it own your shit. Some people call it taking responsibility, but in my world, it's own your shit. And what it's really about is where you're choosing from when you're making decisions, when you're trying to build these habits. And I understand that it's tempting to not take responsibility because then you're wrong or you're the problem or, you don't really have anyone else to look at but you, and that's the uncomfortable part of it, right? But where's the power within that dynamic? So it's really kind of where you're choosing from when you're trying to be healthy. Are you choosing from a space of like a victim space or an empowering space? Because I understand the appeal of the victim space where, you're not responsible then. It's someone else's fault that you can't get to the gym every single day, or you can't eat healthy, or it's the kitchen's fault for being dirty and that's why. If you have thoughts like, why me? Why is this always happening? In our comparative culture, it's very tempting to see people being successful and then, have negative thoughts about yourself. But that is a victim space. And there's nothing wrong with it. I completely understand it. Spent a few years there myself. But ultimately, how does it really serve us? It kind of doesn't. It just makes us bully ourselves and make us feel kind of bad about ourselves. And that is really what I uncovered this last couple of years, is just how transformative and empowering space could be. Yes, you are responsible for when you do and when you don't do. But when you are in an empowering space, you also have the power to change it. Whereas when you're in a victim space, you're giving that power away to some imaginary force, ultimately. But if you can live in an empowering space when you're trying to build habits or make change, all it takes is one or two extra moments to really understand. Instead of, I didn't do this, bully me, I'm a bad person, it's having a little bit of respect for yourself. There's always a good reason why you're doing and why you're not doing. But we don't ever look to understand. I talked to a client this week who had some unhealthy food before going to a get-together with friends. And she was bullying herself about it. And I reminded her, there's always a good reason why we're doing and why we're not doing. So what was a good reason? And ultimately, she feels insecure if she's at a gathering with friends and she's the one around the appetizer tray kind of guzzling the food. So she did it to kind of make herself feel safe and more comfortable in a social setting. That's a good reason. It's not I'm a bad person. I was trying to protect myself from an uncomfortable situation. That's a way that your brain and your body was working for you. Now, knowing that, you can make a more empowering choice about how you want to handle that. Maybe you have, a mini salad or a snack before you go to the get together so you can still be social and have some snacks, but you don't, look like the person shoveling all the food in. My point being, there's always a compromise. It's just a matter of where you're choosing from and actually taking that extra time and space to go in and consider, why am I not doing this? Like, what is standing in my way? Am I afraid of something? Am I worrying about something? Do I think I'm going to lose something? Because at the end of the day, what you want is change. So you can be a victim. You can feel bad for yourself. You can bully yourself. And then, let's be honest, that judgment, I've spent a few years there myself. It doesn't really provoke change, but an empowering space, a space of love for yourself, faith for yourself, one that takes the extra minute to understand, like, all right, if I'm not doing it, there's a good reason why I'm not doing it. Or if I am doing something I don't like that I'm doing, like binge eating, for instance, there's a good reason. What am I trying to satisfy? And actually giving yourself the extra attention, because what I'll tell you is that moment of extra insight of actually understanding what's stopping you or what's pushing you into that bad habit, that information is what will give you that change. But that's powerful, and you're doing it from a space of love for yourself, and that's empowering. And then you feel more confident. I'm not going to go into all the hormonal details, but every thought we have leads to a hormone, and that's going to give you a stronger hormonal space that is going to work with your body. So not only, let's just cover this, is it more enjoyable to choose from an empowered space, you actually get more information that makes it easier for you to change. But hormonally, it actually gets the internal body to work with you when you're trying to lose weight or be healthier. So what's the drawback? The main thing that I think it comes down to is accepting humanness, because we don't like making mistakes. It makes us feel uncomfortable. We feel bad about ourselves. We should never make mistakes, but name a human who's never made a mistake. Go ahead, I'll wait. There isn't one, right? To accept that you are human is to accept that you're going to make mistakes. You're going to want to go to the gym and you're not. You're going to wish you had the salad but you ate the pizza instead. Okay, you're human. Have a little grace, have a little compassion. Don't bully yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't be the victim. Choose to empower yourself to understand what's getting in your way so that you can actually create the change that you crave, because that's the whole reason you're here to begin with. I hope, considering where we're going in the next couple weeks, New Year, that a lot of change is typically knocking on the door for people. So when you're choosing, choose from a space of love, choose from a space of power, choose you, not bullying yourself. It's a much better place. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. I hope that you learned something, and I will be back here next week for another Coffee with Flora, and I hope to see you then.